Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Season 15 finale of PRL Performance Racing League Sunday Tier. Once again, I am your host, HoopBK, and going to preface all this by saying I am a bit under the weather today, but we're going to try to put as much energy as possible into the season finale because it's a season finale. It deserves it. Even if the championship battle for the drivers is already wrapped up, Constructors is still very much in the air, and we'll get more into that later. And even more excitingly, 20-car grid. So the boys have come out in full force for the season finale. Can't believe it's been 15 seasons already. It's truly amazing. What a community that we have built here at PRL. Okay. Here we go. Thank you. Here at Spain, always a fun track, I think. Always some good racing here. We've had some contentious moments at turn one here, so I'm sure we will be in for an exciting race start. So much better without the little chicane at the end of the lap. Two DRS zones, one very long on the front straight, and the second one that we're watching Craig, who leads everyone on their outlaps. He was at the end of that second DRS zone. Excuse me. We'll hop on board with Craig. DRS open to go through a lap around the Catalonia circuit. Long front straightaway, as I mentioned. Braking at the 100, get the car slowed. Still a medium speed corner. It's fourth or fifth gear. And then this long right-hander. Gonna wear out the tires, but gotta keep a ton of speed. Tricky trail braking zone here. You can start to the inside and wash out, but he holds it to the inside the entire way through. And another little tricky zone where you might lose the rear under braking. Brakes at the 50. And yet another. I'd say there's a lot of tricky, like, low to medium speed corners here, especially in the first half of the track. So it's a bit more of a high speed, keeping as much momentum as possible, running out onto the curb to open DRS. Then this kind of reworked section. Couple different lines, but you want to get back on the power as soon as possible. And another long right-hander. We head to the final two corners where it's pretty much flat out to the end if you're brave enough. Drops it into sixth. DRS back open, and Craig has the first lap of the session. Rusty tops it by 4/10, and Bazerga tops it by another second and a half. Mr. Bean into the 111s, so there we go. Our contenders throwing down big laps early. I like having the telemetry for our onboard lap just to give everyone an idea of what the drivers are dealing with throughout the lap. Then turn it off otherwise a little bit to kind of clear the screen up a little bit. Mr. Bean has already clinched the Drivers' Championship, but he is looking to clinch and secure a Constructors' Championship for Mercedes here. Though they're on the back foot. They are chasing the Aston Martin duo of Jay Story and Furzy. What is it by? It's not by much. Let's see. By just 15 points. So I think the maximum amount of points a team can get is 72. So the most that they can gain or lose on an opponent is 69 points. Nice. With a 20-car field. So it's still very much in the air. And then there's somebody else who's actually still mathematically in it. It's the Red Bull duo of Joe Bidome and Tar Heels. So keep an eye on that as we go through today's events. This is J.H. Rutt. I'll just call him Rutt. I believe this is his PRL debut, so welcome. He's thrown down a 112.4, which is good for P3 early on in the session. Spark Hishira good to see on the Sunday. Broadcast has been making his mark in midweek Tier 2. He sits 4th currently. Zerga. Kistiggy, I believe Ghost Viper just threw down a lap at a 1:13.1. I love having a full grid. It's kind of chaotic, but it's good to see everybody out here. Furzy, I guess getting accustomed to something. He's running in the 116s right now. And who was it? I think it was Adri. Adri K up to P3 into the 112. Still everyone about a half second back from Mr. Bean. But I still think we have quite a few runners here that have not put down a representative lap. Gortsas has not put down a lap at all. We'll watch him go through the middle sector here. He's in a little battle in the championship standings as well. I think it's around for P6 where it's all pretty tight in the drivers. P7. He's currently P8, but he trails P7 Brian by just 5 points. So, could easily change. To the final corner. Takes it in 7th. I think that's more what you'll be likely to see. And jumps to P6 just behind the aforementioned Brian B. Furzy puts down a much more representative lap in the 112.2s. Just misses out on P2, actually. And is P3 on the board. So there are guys that I would keep an eye out for here in qualifying that are lower on the board is Kobe. He's hopped in, has become one of the top reserves here in Sunday tier. A vote at a 119 on another outlap, possibly a mistake that first time around. And who was that? Kak putting down a lap. Slots in next to his McLaren teammate Nico John in P14. Whew. And spot up is too cool to qualify. Let's see. We got Haas's and V-Carbs. Oh my. Furzy coming into the pit lane. Just inside 10 minutes left, so pretty much everyone finishing up their initial runs if they hadn't already. Mr. Bean already back on track for another flyer. Be crazy to see how much improvement there is to a 111.7. See how the Master takes this turn. I think it's turn 4. See, he gets to the apex at the bottom. Oh, but just gets back into the throttle a little too quickly and loses the rear. Has to save it. That's the risk you run at that corner where there's just not a lot of traction, where you want to keep momentum, but if you're getting back on the power too early, the car wants to pivot. So probably lost a little bit of time there. Let's see how he's looking at the Sector 2 split. Yeah, down 0.3. So Joe is up a 1/10. He's not too much further behind on track as Kobe jumps to P5. And there's just movement in the midfield as well. Might have been Spark or Bazerga. Yeah, Ramsey, I love this track. A little frustrating at times, but just a joy to drive. Mr. Bean into the pit lane. He was not finding time in Sector 3. Let's see how Joe is doing here. I missed the Sector 2 split. And Joe to the line. Lost some time in Sector 3, so just a marginal improvement. Yeah, and so much better without the chicane at the end. Some fun high-speed moments, but also some tricky corners in the middle sector. And just so much fun to drive. And, I don't know if I had mentioned this, We have a bit of cloud coverage here in qualifying. It should be a dry start to the race, but we could see rain at the end. Rather, our meteorologist Tar Heels says heavy rain possible at the end of the race. So, interested to see how that informs the strategies of our drivers. Yeah. What a way to end a season, right? Just some torrential rainfall in the final laps of season 15. Very exciting stuff. Let's see how Ghost Viper finds 2/10, jumps a spot or two to P11. Immediately relegated to P12. Who was that? Balzerga, T-Stiggy? I think it was T-Stiggy, yeah. So very tight here in the upper midfield, I'd say from like 7th through 12th. About 3/10 difference, so we'll keep an eye on that. And pretty tight here at the top once you get by Mr. Bean. That was Spark up to P6 in the Ferrari. He slots in just behind his teammate for the day, Kobe Plays. I believe both are reserves. But Spark showing off a ton of pace right now. He's I mentioned earlier, he's been able to flex his pace a little bit in midweek tier 2, but here in Sunday, he is up here with the big boys. And P6 on 1 lap pace right now. So Joe has either binned it or just trying to get out of the way, or perhaps both. Tricky corner there. Let's bounce around all the way back to Tar Heels. Cruising. Might hop over here to a vote whose best time is still in the 119s. Should find plenty of time here. Just trying to put in a clean lap. Mistake wasn't in the first sector. Dips a tire onto the grass though. So you just hear the wheels screeching, trying to get the braking down. You know, that downhill left-hander. This flick to the left. And to the right, car just wants to pivot on you. Just wants to change, wants to flip directions, essentially. The rear wants to become the front. We're braking at 100. Just taking a lot of curb here. And through the final corner, downshifts to 6 to keep the revs up. And that'll be much more representative into the 113s, low 113s. That's P13 on the grid. 4 minutes left in the session, and we've got some drivers back out on track for what should be their final runs. Spot up for his first and final run. Take a look at the reserve in the Alpine today. Spot up a central part of midweek Tier 2 racing. We'll hop in the occasional Sunday race. And about 5 minutes before the race started, decided he wanted to race. So, welcome to the grid spot up triples. P17 on his first run, a 113.5. His teammate is finding a little bit of time. If he can find a little bit more, he could be in contention for P3, but runs quite wide and gives it up. So, was finding time through 2 sectors. Not a lot, but now possibly just trying to get back in the pit lane to throw on new tires and get back out for one more run. 2.5 minutes, so you got to get it out right about now. You got to come in, throw those tires on, get back out there. Whew. See, Mr. Bean, the perfect example of the car just trying to... The rear wing wants to become the front wing. That quick left and right. I believe that was Nico John that jumped on the board, I think, here in the midfield. Do have some movement here in the midfield. Yep, Nico John found 4/10 and got out of the way. The Sauber duo on hot laps, kind of close together on track actually. T. Stiggy sits 10th and Rusty sits 14th. Just a little bit of time can move you up a row or two here in the waning minutes of the final qualifying session of Sunday Tier season. Stiggy up a quarter second. And Rusty getting out of the way must have not gone to his liking. Stiggy certainly has the pace to jump up there into the top 5. We'll stick with him for now as some other drivers are queuing up for their final run. Just 75 seconds left before the checkered flag. There we go. So looking at P8 right now, can he find a touch more? Lost the car a touch there. And through the final corner. And T. Stiggy will jump. Lost some time in the final sector. Probably with that little wiggle. Just jumps to P9. I'm going to scroll through some of the contenders at the top. Just to see what's going on. Furzy finding 0.5 in the first sector. Joe is just trying to get back around in time, I believe. And he should to get one last push lap in. Mr. Bean getting out of the way, and that's pretty much his session. It's still a 0.5 second buffer as Joe will cross the line. Plenty of time left. Where's Furzy at the Sector 2 line? Still a 0.5. It's going to be really close. He's got to bank on Joe not finding any time here on this final lap. As the checkered flag comes out, Nico John and Tar Heels are the first to take it. Rusty and CAC had called their sessions early. Where is Furzy going to go? It's going to be enough for now. That's P2, a 1:12.1. Joe has found some time as well through the first sector, that little slide, and we had a Ferrari spun out just in front of him. Who was that? It was Kobe. No, it was Spark. Kobe going by at about the same moment, though. Joe is invalidated, possibly trying to avoid all this, so he will not get P2. He will be P3 at best. I did not see the split time here for Adrian. He had to go again. We saw him go into the pit lane. He runs wide at the final corner. 1:12.7 would not have been enough, but who knows what could have happened. Spark has gone off. Oh, we saw that earlier, that lack of front wing. Zerga cruising right now. Is Gortsauce on for an improvement? Absolutely not. I'm not sure he has any fuel, and he'll do a parpet perpendicular. J Story into the pit lane. Yeah, similar times then to last season. Excellent. Does seem like we are at Barcelona rather frequently. It's like every season or every other season at this point. So here we go for the grid for our final race of Season 15 is Mr. Bean on pole beating out It's Furzy, who beats out Joe Bidome in the final minutes. Adri K joins Joe on the second row. Then we have the Ferrari duo of Kobe and Spark. Rhett in 7th in his debut, and Balzerga, Gortsauce, and Brian B round out the top 10. 1,000th between them. Keep an eye on that battle. T. Stiggy, Nico John, Ghost Viper, J Story, Rusty Oil Can to P15. Then a vote. Craig, Spot Up, CAC, and Tar Heels round out a full 20-car grid. Spot Up says he doesn't have his wheel settings. That's nice. It's always fun. It's like relearning how to drive. While we have a moment, I did want to call out that we reached 250 followers on the Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't checked out the Twitch, please do so. Should be a link in the YouTube channel description. And if you're watching live on Twitch and you want to watch this again later, check out the YouTube channel. I know that link is in the Twitch channel description. If you're checking us out for the first time, we'd love to have you. I'd love to have you race with us. So check out the link to our Discord in the respective channel descriptions. Kind of a light crowd today, just 4 viewers right now. But race is not even underway yet. Better tune in soon to see all the Turn 1 action, though. That wouldn't be something new for Alpine with the engine issues. With the rain, I'm wondering if it's just going to be a 2-stop anyway, if you're just going to plan on the 2-stopper. Seems like there's a lot more 2-stoppers in this year's game. Just haven't really raced enough to feel it out yet. On the grid, and I think I'm going to have to get J-Story back in here. I don't know if I have him. I don't think I do. Unfortunate. Ramsey says for a dry race, this is definitely a 1-stop. You lose some 12 seconds with a 2-stop. Okay, so Spain still a 1-stop in the dry. Game says soft, medium, medium, which is odd. You probably just go medium hard then. But with the rain, you're kind of banking on it coming out at a certain time, so maybe you go like medium, medium. Medium hard, throw on whatever tire at the end. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll actually... J-Story lost connection. Are you able to get back in? I do not have you on my PlayStation, unfortunately. So I can't add you back into the session. You might be able to get back in. It's just a matter of how many positions you're going to lose in the first lap. Let's look at those tires. Yep, it's a lot of mediums and hards. So top 7 all on mediums, 9th through 12th, 16th through 18th. Oh yeah, do that actually. Send me an EA friend request and I could try to get you in. So Balzerga is the leading car on hards, but mostly hards in the rear trying to run long. So not that. Not that. Position change. That's what I want. Tar Heels pulling up to the rear of the grid to finish the formation lap. We are ready to go. Season 15 finale. Close to being underway once these 5 red lights go out, and they do. J-Story joins right at that time. We're going to have a lot of changes here as Furzy gets to the inside. And we'll jump Mr. Bean into turn 1. Have a lot of shuffling here in the pack. We'll try to sort it all out soon, but Furzy gets to the inside of Mr. Bean into turn 1. We'll take the top spot. Oh, Joe running wide. We get a look at that from J.H. Rutt. Joe's going to lose that position to Kobe. Plenty of movement here in the middle sectors. Tar Heels around, it appears, and the ghost of J-Story. Another yellow out. That's a Haas. Zavot has found the wall. That tricky section with the quick left and right, trying to get it going. He will drop to the rear of the field, but at the front of the field, it's Furzy. Or it's Furzy. Has come on strong in these last few races, finally beating Mr. Bean head-to-head at Reverse Austria. That was a long time coming and a very notable moment here in Season 15. Who is that in the slipstream? I think it's Brian, all the way to the back of Adri. DRS not in this zone, but is enabled this time by. A vote into the pit lane, probably needs to replace that front wing. So not ideal pit strategy here from the Haas, but you got to get that wing intact. See a little bit of separation here with the top 5. Our big movers, Brian up 3, Craig actually up 4, Spot up 3. And our losers on the first lap include Spark, who's dropped from 6th to 10th, J-Story, the ghost of J-Story, and a Vote who's down 4. Spot up 4 now, getting by Ghost Viper. That's for P14. He's pretty good on the race starts. Adrian immediately on the defensive here in P6 as he's starting to lead his own little DRS train that spans from 6th down to 17th. It's going to leave him under pressure once more, except Brian a little bit further back this time. Is he going to be close enough? He is. Brakes a little bit later. Can he get the car rotated enough? He does. Adrian gives him enough room. So Brian will take P6. Oh, great shot there. Look at that. Sure, Adrian's going to keep the heat on Brian B. As I mentioned earlier, Brian trying to hold on to, I believe that's P7 in the driver's standings. It's a bit of a battle there. The big battle we're looking at is really at the front with Furzy and Mr. Bean in Constructors. J-Story losing connection is not going to help that Aston Martin team, though. It's basically, can Craig gain 15 points on J-Story. And I don't think it would be enough right now, but something to keep an eye on for sure as we get into lap 4. Mr. Bean rapidly approaching. And we'll get by as Furzy was starting to cover the outside line. Beanie to the inside and takes the lead back. He had it for about 300 meters or so at the beginning of the race, but he is back there now. Kobe not very far behind this with DRS. It is a little tricky to overtake here, to pick your spots. Seeing everyone get a bit of a wobble there into turn 4 and 5. Whew. And right with a bit of a slide there. Brian starting to pull away from Adri, actually, who is falling back towards the clutches of Gord. See him lock into the corner. Just trying to get back within a second of Brian so he can have that toe down the front straight and the DRS help, but I'm not sure he's going to get there in time. Well, he might. Yep. Hear the DRS open there. So, thought Kobe had a move squared up on Furzy, but he just gets to the rear of him, not quite close enough to complete the move or really even attempt it. Call out Spot Up, making another move into turn 1, getting by Craig. That moves into P13. He is our biggest mover in the early stages, up 5 laps on lap 5. Has a long way to go to Nico John in P12. The clean race bonus kind of complicates things with the standings because you may not have the final results until a week after, but we have to do some math to see where exactly, how badly does Craig need to beat J-Story? Is Craig going in the wrong direction now? He's dropped to P15. How badly does Craig need to beat J-Story for Mercedes to take the Constructor's crown? Hop back up to Furzy as he gained on Mr. Bean, but just not close enough to make the move into turn 1. These top 5 still running away here. Oh, the battles. We'll keep an eye out for Spot Up already clearing Ghost Viper, who had to get around Craig. Nico John falling away from Balzerga, so good news for Spot Up and the Alpine. Good to see that J-Story's made it back in at least. 8.5 seconds back, but here, actually, I'll pull up my... see how the lap times are. Back to the line. Mr. Bean still leading this one. Take it to lap 7 of 33. The 4 cars behind will all have DRS, but will not be close enough for any moves here. Looks like Adrian's going to be close enough on Brian. Dives to the inside, takes the position, runs a bit deep, and a bit of a switchback move on the table, but it's going to turn into the outside for Brian. He's not going to quite have the line. Oh, we see Gord sliding the car around turn 3. And Stiggy trying to get by Gord. Took a look. So Adrian gets the position after all of that, making the move into turn 1. Might have outbraked himself, went deep. Brian trying to do the up and under to get back around. Could not quite make the move work. Gord will have DRS to help him against T. Stiggy and Spark, who's actually right there as well. Brian not able to utilize the DRS there to get around Adri, though. That V-Carb looks a little squirrely ahead there in P8. We're trying to keep it under control. 8 laps on the tires now. We mentioned in the pre-race the one stopper is viable. Brian returns the favor this time by. He will take the position into turn 1. Spot Up had lost out to Ghost Viper, so he was trying to claw back to Nico, but has found himself in a battle here for P13. These two separating themselves from Craig. And J-Story actually going the wrong direction, dropping about a second a lap to CAC on the same tires. So this leading train. See, plenty of lines to take through here. There is a best line, I would say, but a number of viable lines through that corner. See if Furzy can get momentum through the final corner. He takes it in 5th for a moment. I think it's actually going to cost him. DRS open now. Excuse me. It's some battery, but just not quite close enough to get alongside. Would have been an ambitious move. Adri and Brian once more switching positions. And Adri having a tendency to overcook that first corner. Kind of jumping around a little. Get some battles. That's CAC Supreme P17 on the back of Rusty. Just keeping that inside line through turn... I guess that's turn 4. Much better turn 5. But if you're too close to the driver ahead through this section, it throws you off, as we see CAC kind of misjudging his braking. He's going to lose some time. If you're too close, you want to keep as much momentum as possible, and then if you're trying to anticipate when the driver ahead's going to brake, can't really keep that momentum up. Rhett jumped up 2. He might find a chance now. I was about to say had jumped up 2 and was kind of stuck, but Joe makes a mistake into turn 1. It's going to bring Rhett within 3/10 and gaining. Ooh. So I'm trying to get back on the throttle a touch earlier. Get a wiggle from the rear. I don't think it was these two. It might have been Stiggy getting by Gord for P8. I think that was the move I saw. And CAC, who we had highlighted a moment ago, had an incident in turn 1. That drops him off the rear of Stiggy's teammate Rusty for P16. That's where that yellow was. So that train is separated even more, so it's kind of down to 4 or 5 cars here. Starting P8, going all the way to Nico John at P12. He's back to this train. Spark has gone off. Both Spark and Gord have gone off. That tricky little section after that heavy braking zone. Don't know if there was contact or if it was an avoiding deal, but Gord's going to take it to the pit lane. Spark's going to stay out on track. Gord is on the mediums. This could be routine. Just decide that it's time. I did not see damage to the front of the V-Carb, but... Oh, Gord's calling it, actually. So... Okay. And a 10-second penalty for CAC Supreme, speeding in the pit lane. CAC may have needed a new wing. So that battle for P7 in the drivers is short-lived. It will be Brian's for the taking now. Kobe has fallen off the top 2. He sits 3rd. Joe has returned to the rear of that Ferrari. So it's once more a Furzy and Beanie showdown, about a third of the way through this race. Rhett will come in from P5. Was not a routine stop for Gord. It was Joe and Kobe. That was Joe getting by Kobe, actually. So, thought it was the jumping from the pit lane. It was not. Joe Biden takes P3 into turn 1. We do have some other takers here. We'll highlight that for the time being. Rhett onto mediums. Stiggy, Nico John, Craig onto hards. Spark onto hards as well. Cack onto mediums. He also picked up that penalty. I think Spark also had to put a new wing on, possibly, but he drops to the rear of the 19 car field now. You can tell the drivers are starting to struggle with the mediums after 11 laps or so. A lot more wiggling through the low-speed corners, trying to find the traction. Kobe into the pit lane. He comes in behind the leaders of Bean and Furzy. That gives Joe Bidome the lead here in Barcelona. Appears we have found the pit window here. If any drivers in this race are watching this and are able to report on when the rain is supposed to come in, please let me know. I think that'd be some interesting info to have. It does appear to be getting a touch darker here around the circuit. It has been overcast for the entire race, but maybe it was light cloud going to overcast. Kobe gets by Furzy. I think there was a mistake from the Aston Martin driver. That high-speed left-right. Joe Bidome hits the pit lane. He's the last driver to pit that started on the medium tires. He takes him a full 13. And will probably don the hards now. That gives Balzerga the lead of this one. Ghost Viper trying to hold off Beanie for a little bit longer. It's not going to happen here. DRS, fresh tires, gets to the inside. Into turn 1. Slam dunk. Rhett wants to be next. And it's 6.5 seconds and rapidly closing. From Bean up to Balzerga. Rusty takes the hards 13 laps and will instead go to the mediums. Interesting. They are. I'm guessing the expectation now is that there will need to be another stop to put on a wet or an inter tire. If we're seeing that move here on lap 13. My understanding of the softs aren't very good here. They just come apart too quickly. But I wonder how many laps you could get out of them. If you take the hards a long way, throw on the softs until it starts raining for, I don't know, 5, 6 laps. Bit easier to keep the temperature in them once the conditions become wetter. Just an idea, as Mr. Bean throws down the fastest lap of the race, 1:15 flat. Goodness. Balzerga just put down about a 1:18 flat, so 3 seconds there. And as we had a bunch of moves into turn 1, goodness, Rhett to the inside of Ghost Viper. Furzy and Kobe still side by side. Into turn 3, it got really close between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. The Ferrari kind of ushering Ghost Viper out of the way. Furzy trying to join them. Breaks a little bit deep, will go too wide, trying to hold onto the car. Glad I got there in time. We saw a bunch of moves happening at once. New tires on old. Ghost Viper loses out big time with the older tires. He went from 3rd to 7th quite quickly. And a very close moment between Kobe and Furzy. But they keep it clean and continue onward. Rut has put himself in a good position, pretty much undercutting the other leaders. Mr. Bean cutting another, I don't know, 2 seconds that lap, with Rut putting in the fastest lap of the race. Viper calls it quits after 15 laps on those hards. He's into the pit lane. Yep, so Rut with the undercut. Kobe has taken advantage of the mediums to get around Furzy. Essentially dropped Furzy 2 spots in the race. Okay. Guess this is just the camera that we are stuck with now. Rut actually rapidly, he was gaining on Mr. Bean quite a bit. You can see that battery is pretty much empty, so he was pushing last lap. He's within 2 seconds of Beanie. Beanie nearly within 2 seconds of Valzerga, our race leader, who will go around one more lap on those hard tires. Wonder if at this point, if the hards are still remaining intact, if you're just going to drive them till the rain comes. Of course, you're banking on the rain coming early. Kobe gets by Rut. Joe gets by Furzy. Some overtakes here into turn 1. This is for podium positions. If not now, then later. Ooh. Being within a second now of Valzerga. It's only 1.2 seconds faster last time around, but is making up a ton of time here on the brakes. So if you're Valzerga, you want to stay out, hold him off, slow him down. They say this is a good run, hit at the pit lane. No, he will stay out. Bean's going to have a great run. It'll pretty much be by him before the DRS flap opens. Started on pole, back to P1. The pit stop cycle. I call out Rusty getting by J Story. That's new tires on old. J Story and Valzerga, the only ones still on those hard tires from the beginning of the race. Woo. Oh, man. Cack, huge moment, and finds the wall. Runs wide out of the final corner. And the car just pivots right. Went right across the nose of Spark Ashira, who comes away unharmed, at least. But that front wing on the McLaren is not unharmed. Has some notable damage. Kobe, can he go around the outside? It's a tough move, but he has the better tires. Will he make it work and get clear before the turn-in? He does. Nice move there by Kobe Plays, taking advantage of those fresher mediums to get around Valzerga. But now it's 2 seconds to the leader. He's on the better tires. I don't know for how much longer those mediums are going to be considered the superior tire. Valzerga holding off Rut, though, and Rut with Joe Bidome just behind. Rut knows he needs to make a move here to keep Joe behind. He gets around the outside. What about Joe? He will take the inside line into the next corner. Dives it quite a bit almost gets to the rear of Rut, and Balzerga almost went with Joe, nearly off the track as Joe just trying to get by the slower car and Balzerga, and almost gets into the rear of Rut, entering turn 4. Another yellow, and I think that's just the struggling car of CAC trying to get back around. Though he's still out on the track. So. Furzy and Balzerga now side by side. So Furzy says it's my turn, and he takes that outside line the same way that we saw Kobe take it just a lap ago. Balzerga committed to the strategy. It's a tough feeling in this stage of the race where you're trying to get these tires to go as long as possible, and you are just floundering, just hemorrhaging time and positions. He ran a 1:18.7 last time around, and we have a yellow flag once more in Sector 1. All the leaders are running high 115s, low 116s, so just hemorrhaging time to those around him. Adrian ran a 116 flat, so that gap can disappear in a few laps' time. Adrian with Brian and T. Stiggy all together. Furzy had an issue. Lost the car, something, but he's lost the position. There doesn't seem to be any damage, but he has to get by Balzerga once more. And what was a P2 start in the lead for a while for Furzy, it's not going quite as well. I'd see a yellow through here. I think it's just CAC, who probably needs to pit to replace that wing. He's got the leaders around him now, or approaching. That's Tar Heels, who is 19th, and you can see Mr. Bean in the background. Joe will get by Rut this time. That's P3. Final podium spot. CAC is ghosted for the leaders at least. I believe you're supposed to treat ghosted cars as unghosted. He does get out of the way on corner exit, but trying to nurse this car around at least to the next pit stop. Bean starting to stretch his legs at the front, and I think there's a little bit more of a stretching going out through the field. Brian and Adri have lost T-Stiggy for the time being, at least from the DRS train. Here's Rusty in P13 with Spark and Ghost Viper behind. That could turn into a battle at any moment. This might turn into a battle. Joe and Kobe. Joe into turn 1, DRS help. That's P2. A lot of curb on entry. So Joe has cut his way back up into a podium spot, and now on the second tallest step on that podium. It was actually faster than Bean by about 7/10 last lap. I don't know how long that'll hold up for. Kobe, our second track limits penalty of the race. Here we're at the 2/3 completion mark. CAC into the pit lane. He had picked up the first one. He throws on the soft tires, trying to get him to the end, or at least to the rain. But now this hurts Kobe in this battle for a podium spot because there has been no breathing room. I think I'm starting to see rain. Leaves them no breathing room in this battle for the final podium spot. These three just all attached right now. Yep, starting to see rain here on the broadcast. Kobe will get to the rear. Joe going defensive. How brave do you want to be on the brakes right now? It's slick. Balzerga into the pit lane. 22 laps on those hard tires. What does he go to? He's going to the inters pretty early, I would say, but he is the first one to do so, and he's able to turn this race into a one-stop. So maybe this first lap will hurt as the rain filling itself out. How about that? Might be a touch early, but committing to the one-stop. We have a car around. A vote has lost the car. That Haas trying to get back on the track. I don't have all the turn numbers, but those series of corners after the Sector 2 DRS zone. Rusty onto the inters as well, so he joins Balzerga. We have a couple more takers. Does a vote join his teammate on the intermediate tire? Cack had just come in for softs, and now we're starting to see some rainfall. Yep, a vote onto the inters as well. So the final 10 laps could be an inters battle. Joe gets back around Kobe for P2 on track. It's now a 6-second difference as this group lost 2-3 seconds to Mr. Bean last lap. So the Bean has checked out. More cars into the pit lane this time. Oh, Spot Up had gotten back to P11, was on for a pretty decent result, but has a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Just checking the fastest lap. It's currently Rut. Bean into the pit lane. Joe into the pit lane. Kobe. Pretty much all the leaders. If they are, I think we are finally at the crossover point for everyone. Joe, 10-second penalty speeding in the pit lane. Terrible news there. And a battle that has been so close. We're starting to have penalties play into this. I don't want leader. I want interval. There we go. DRS has been disabled, and that's the official crossover point, I would say. Once DRS is no longer enabled, you need to be on something that's not a slick. So Joe, 10-second penalty. That's going to throw him down the order. Kobe dealing with a penalty as well. That's going to put Rut P2 on the timing board. And Furzy P3, I believe, for the time being. That could affect our Constructors battle. The other players there, Craig is 12th, Jay Story 16th. I feel like if I try to figure out the math right now, I'm just going to miss something on track. And it could change post-race anyway with the track limits warnings, or lack thereof. So shame about that penalty is now Joe finding a little bit of breathing room here in P2, but that penalty is just going to loom over him. Same with Spot Up. He's going to drop 2 spots from this, nearly. Kobe, another 3 seconds. I feel like the math is a little bit easier here. Rut trying to find a way around Kobe, and he's not going to find. It's just not going to happen. He's going to force him into a mistake, though. Kobe takes the access road, and will end up losing the spot. So, kind of coaxed him into a mistake there. Joe kind of keeping an eye on Balzerga. That gap is around 10 seconds. Similar for Kobe. Just trying to hold on to time, possibly to finish ahead of Joe. Here we go. We get a good move here. Furzy and Kobe going at it for P4 on track. Kobe trying to hold on. Okay, so not including the track limits points. So I have no idea who doesn't have one yet. As of right now, with a Furzy P3, because of the time penalties, Jay Story 16th, Craig 11th because of the time penalties, and Mr. Bean winning. Mercedes will win the Constructors by 1 point. And that 1 point difference is the Mr. Bean pole from today. So incredibly tight margins right now in the Constructors. I think Furzy at this point possibly, like, he needs to make up another position, but how that's going to happen is he needs Rut to pick up a time penalty, and he needs to be there to capitalize on it. Jay Story, it's been a rough go for him. He is closing up on Ghost Viper. That point would be enough. He's about a second away, as we are at 4 laps, 5 laps to go here in the season 15. Mr. Bean has already been crowned Drivers' Champion, trying to get that double once more for Mercedes. At this point, he just has to keep the car on track. And hope that Craig stays within 10 seconds of spot up, because that could also change things as well. A little bit harder to make moves here in the rain. We've seen the race kind of slow down, but it becomes a very tricky race for all the drivers involved. You're no longer racing others. You are racing the conditions. You're just trying to keep the car on track, keep it intact. Whatever position you're in is a lot better than where you would be if you put the car in the wall. Spark and Rusty still pretty close as well. I am going to tune into this battle for P15. This could be the Constructors right here. Jay Story trying to get around Ghost Viper. I think Jay Story is tuned in, so maybe going more aggressive once I mention that. If you are listening, good luck to you. The Aston Martin driver, currently P16, staring at the back of that Williams. Big moment for both of them there. Sliding the car around. That's a tricky, tricky corner in the wet. And he's just trying to keep the traction in it through some of these high-speed corners. Furzy gets around Kobe on track. They're going to be battling, though. Let's see if I can get there. Like I said, on track, but that 6-second penalty is making quite a difference right now. Back to this battle. I think both of them have just gone a lap down. Yes. That was Mr. Bean getting by them. So that means they have a 1 lap less than they may have had otherwise to resolve this. You can hear the feathering of the throttle right now from Jay Story, trying to keep the car pointed where he wants it to go, taking a lot of delicate footwork. Oh, Rut has gotten to the back of Joe. I feel like that's a new development. He doesn't really need to make the pass, though, unless he wants to. That 10-second penalty, outstanding for Joe. Just 6/10. That's what stands between Aston Martin and a Constructors' Championship right now. Oh, big slide there from Ghost Viper. Is that going to be the move that allows J-Store to get to the rear of him? He's on the battery. He will not have DRS. He is tucked in behind Viper, who goes inside. Now outside. Is it going to be close enough? It's going to be tough to try to outbrake here in these conditions, so he does not get to him. I'm imagining Viper was also on the battery there, trying to defend, and it works for him with just 2 laps to go now in the season. Back to J-Store within a quarter of a second. On to the rear as through this left and right. Super tricky in these conditions. Finds the curb and it helps him to rotate the car. Oh, you can hear the tires locking up as he's trying to get it slowed down. Both drivers kind of making a hash of that corner. I think it's nearly full wet conditions now. It is coming down hard. All drivers on the inter still. Can you keep it on the track for one more lap? Mr. Bean takes the white flag for the final time here in the Sunday tier this season. Is Jay Story going to have a chance into turn 1? He will not. Simply trying to survive, but he needs that final point. Who knows how those bonus points could come into play. And man, I really hope my math is correct on this, because otherwise I'd be quite embarrassed. Going to have Kraken imprinted in his vision. Just tried to get alongside, just not quite getting there. Spot up gets by Nico John on track. We'll cut to Mr. Bean real quick. Mr. Bean, it's a sight we've seen quite a few times this season. Oh, they're side by side. Mr. Bean's going to take the checkered flag and cement his victory, his championship. But Jay Story and Ghost Viper. Jay Story gets around the outside. 2 corners to go. He's going to take P15. And I think that's going to give the Constructors' Championship to Aston Martin. Provisionally. Joe's going to drop some spots because of time penalties. Fursey's going to end up P3. Balzerga, what a race from him, taking those tires all the way to the crossover point. And he's going to get P6. Adri's going to pip Brian with the time penalties. JSTOR says driving on default settings. That is brutal. That's brutal. I think you did enough, though. I think you did enough. I think I missed one of the high points of that battle. But I think you ended up doing enough there. Nico John is going to round out the top 10. Oh. But Craig is going to take 11th. Spot Up lost more time to Craig than those 10 seconds. So Mercedes might be back provisionally as Constructors Champions. We'll have to sort through the math here in a moment. Craig says he has the clean race bonus too. So a very wet Spain race at the end. Drivers showing off their skill, but Mr. Bean takes the top step. Rut gets fastest lap and is named driver of the day. I might give that to Balzerga, but Rut had a truly impressive debut. Ghost Viper most overtakes, and Balzerga is named cleanest driver. Your results: Mr. Bean from pole takes the victory. Rut from 7th on the grid is 2nd. Furzy takes the final podium spot. Joe Bidome 4th. Kobe Place 5th. Balzerga 6th. Stiggy 7th. Adri 8th. Brian 9th. Nico John 10th. Craig from 17th makes it up to 11th. Spot Up 12th. Spark Hashira is 13th. Rusty 14th. J Story 15th. Ghost Viper 16th. A vote. Tar Heels, CAC, and Gord Sauce are lone DNF. So we're going to say Mr. Bean with pole. Furzy is 3rd. Craig is 11th. J Story was 15th. And I might try to run some math here. It was a 15-point gap coming into this race. So assuming the clean race bonus for Craig will stand, that is the difference. Mercedes would gain 49 points, and Aston Martin would gain 32 points. That's a difference of 17, and the gap was 15 points coming into today's race. So that's assuming nobody else gets a clean race bonus, and that's also giving the pole point to Mr. Bean. So legitimately too close to call at this point. And it's amazing that it came down to possibly the final 2 corners of the season 15 calendar. So glad that you were able to join me for this. Sorry that I was a little under the weather and probably missed a couple of things. Hopefully we can bring the season finale for midweek Tier 1 to you later in the week. Please check that out. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure to check this out on the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, vice versa. Thanks for an awesome Season 15 Sunday tier. And I am HoopBK. I'll see you next time.